Welcome to a Roll for Crit discussion video. Today, we are going to be talking to you, really to each other, but you'll also be along for the ride, about the issue of the board game library. How big is too big? And if you hit a certain point, how do you decide which games that you want to get rid of and what do you do with them? Partially, this talk is inspired by the philosophy of Marie Kondo and the decision about what things do or don't bring you joy in your life. It seems like a lot of people in our hobby are kind of going through this where they are thinking about how much is too much. You buy so many games each year if you're a hardcore gamer, and a lot of times people will trade them away or sell them, but eventually you will probably, if you're deep into this hobby, end up with shelves and shelves and shelves, as you've probably seen in every board game video on YouTube, of games. And so we recently made the final decision to do a great culling, we referred to it as. Great culling.
I think you've actually been threatening your games a longer time than I have, because you have not as much space. But I remember you actually came in and I'm like, here's my pile of things I'm giving away. And then I just remembered, within a week, you're like, I did it too.
Yeah.
You were already you had the axe aimed. You were just waiting for something to convince you to swing.
So I did, for a long time, I had my closet where I was just putting games in there I didn't really want on my shelves anymore. And that was building up to the point where they were falling out of my closet. It was bad. So now I finally put them all to the side. Like you said, we each made a big pile of games that we're basically saying to all our friends and stuff, if any of you want these, we're losing them. And we can talk about it in this video, we're still trying to figure out, first we're going to do kind of a first pass of who wants these games, and then maybe we'll give some of them away to people, maybe we'll try to sell some of them.
There are a couple also, I think, that there's first pass and get what you want, but there's some that I think both of us were I'm giving this specifically to this person because I know.
Right, I know this person likes that game. And the thing is, these games that we're giving away, most of them, I think, in our opinion, are not bad games. It's just that we've come to a point where we have so much that you can only sustain so much, and a lot of those games you don't play, so they kind of take up space.
What I want to focus maybe right now on is how did each of us decide?
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah, I mean, that's where it is. So for me, it was, first it was the games from my closet that I was I know I either don't like those games or I've grown out of them. I feel like a classic example for me is Betrayal at House on the Hill, or the Munchkin games, games that were really fun gateway games that I just don't feel a strong presence with anymore. And then after that there's some that were just, I like this game, but maybe I have another game that does a similar thing, but I like it better. Or maybe I just don't think that our group likes this that much. Or it's been 2 years since we've played this game. Who am I kidding? Let's get it off the shelf. What about you? What was your process?
Well, my first process actually was to separate games I have played and haven't played. Because I thought that was something to look into, because I actually still kept a bunch of games I haven't played. Not because I don't feel like I want to have them anymore or play them anymore. I feel one of the reasons I haven't played is because I mix them in with everything and I'm just I'll just grab this for now. And now that I have everything I haven't played, some of them I did put straight away in the giveaway pile. But the ones I decided to keep, they're all in the same area. So now I know this is every week I'm learning one of these games.
Right, yeah, and that's a great thing to do.
So that's to be targeted. And as I've told you, they're not, some of these are I want to play once to experience it, but there's a good chance they're out the door afterwards.
Right, yeah. No, and then I took a cue from you. I kind of did the same thing where I said, what games do I have left that we've never played at all? And some of them are maybe we'll get rid of that. I don't know. I mean, it's different for us. A lot of people are probably saying, why do you have games you haven't played? I think a lot of people still have that problem because you probably know, if you're deep, again, into the board game hobby, you buy games.
Well, a lot of them, I know for me, I don't think it's as much of a you problem, but are games that I backed a lot early on in my career.
Kickstarter.
I backed a lot more games when I was first getting into Kickstarter.
I think I have one game that I backed in Kickstarter that was the first game I ever backed, and we've never played it. And now I'm why did I back this? I don't even remember. Why would I ever back this? So yeah, that's a big part of it. And also, of course, we do get sent games every now and then for review, or that are Kickstarter preview copies. So a lot of times those are just prototypes of things that, even if we enjoyed the game, you don't need that on a shelf. It's probably not a final form, maybe it's missing components, stuff like that, and you just end up with a backlog. So that was really a lot of it for me, was just, we need to finally do away with these.
I know for one game in particular, for example, Carpe Diem, We did enjoy the game, but I remember one of the reasons to put it off was like, what a game that I initiate. Would I initiate bringing to the table?
Yeah, sometimes a game is
I wouldn't
good,
say no to probably these,
Right.
but like, and I think someone else in a group would enjoy it more.
but it's just sometimes it's just not your style, you know. You just prefer different things.
And that's, I think another thing is some of the games are like, this is, maybe I got it very early on and it's cool, but I'm like, this does it better. And
Right.
I'd really rather play this game.
I think that happens a lot for people even when they're deciding to buy things, especially with games of similar genres, you know, like how many, for you the answer to this, the answer may differ depending on who you are, but how many deck builders do you need? How many worker placement games do you need? What does one do that the other one doesn't? And at the end of the day, like if you'd play one over the other, well, you don't need the other one, right?
I will say that probably by Marie Kondo standards, I am not good at all. I am a collector. I have more than just that. I also have plenty of toys and figures around there with the board games. Mm-hmm. Though I did sort of, not the same kind of culling, I just put them in a box. Mm-hmm. Compared to
It's a lot. I mean, that's the hard part with board games is, you know, we've talked about, unlike movies and video games, they take up a lot of space. So it's a lot harder.
I want to ask your opinion on it, because this actually, one of the big videos that really triggered this for me was Rodney Smith's actual comment response to his original video about collections. And he mentioned, I think someone mentioned in a comment that he read, was the difference between a collection versus a library.
Okay.
And that a collection is like you don't interact with. So like it's just like you collect, you have it on there. When a library is like meant to be checked out and like.
Okay.
And, how do you feel about that? Do you think that makes sense? Is there to you nothing different? Are they interchangeable, or do you feel like yes, I want to make sure this is a library versus a collection?
I mean, to me, I feel like the terms could definitely be interchangeable. I think most people will say their board game collection, they mean that they also play them. But if you are differentiating that way, I mean, you want a library, I think.
Well, I just found it interesting because you actually started the video with library.
Yeah, I think it just sounds classier. That's really why I did it. But I mean, I guess, do people collect board games to not play? Because I feel like compared to other things like a toy, that looks nice on a shelf. A board game, you're just looking at a box.
I mean, when we first started,
I have board games that I don't play, so maybe I do.
No, but I mean, like, there was when we first started Roll for Career, I remember it wasn't like it was our parents' friends, like we were at some big parties, like, oh, you guys should get all those old games, like for collection. Like he didn't realize that you can get board games to play, like there was anything beyond Monopoly. So he thought like, oh, if the real money must be in like the old NFL like electronic game or
like
something.
antique collections and stuff.
More like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, some people maybe do that and collect older games like that. That's true. So I guess the next question is, now that we've done this great culling, are we going to be more selective about what we purchase in the future?
I mean, like I said, a lot of mine initially were a good chunk are finished Kickstarters, and I back a lot less things. A lot less things now, but I mean, I might put more money, as much money sometimes because it's a big thing. But,
right. Yeah, I think that's happened for me too. I think I've been a little more selective, and of course, again, for us, it's hard because whether we want to or not, we get games and we have to review games.
That was part of it actually. There's a good chunk in there that I bought because I'm like, very early on, because I was still such a newborn in the world of board games. You're like, oh, I should get this and this. There are a couple like regret buys in there.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, a bit more zoned in on what I want.
Yeah.
I will say I do think there are certain things that probably give away that I didn't, or there are some things like you mentioned your first Kickstarter. You're like, why did I have this? I have ones in there that I don't regret. Like I have the Lost Temple from Everything Epic Games. I'm still very happy to have.
Sure, yeah.
And Cthulhu Wars was an early purchase, and that's one I'm definitely keeping around. Probably, I think, if I had to even cull more, it's probably one of the very last to go.
One game that I'm hanging on to is Settlers of Catan. Now,
I actually gave away all my Settlers.
See, I feel now it's not a game that I really want to go to that much, but that one I still felt like different from Munchkin, which I felt like I really don't want to play that anymore. I don't know, there's something about Catan that is, also because it's the original Settlers version, they don't sell that anymore. So, there's a little bit of a nostalgic attachment to that I wanted to keep.
I did keep one thing of Munchkin.
Yeah.
Because it's actually the Doodle Munchkin, so it has the cards we drew.
Oh, right. No, that's special. Also, my copy of Munchkin is an early one that's crappy.
That was one thing I felt a little bit bad about with my original Munchkin, because I actually played a lot of that in college. Like we used to always sit at the same table and play.
Yeah, it's a tough thing, so you got to make some hard calls, but at the end of the day, I feel like ultimately 99% of the games that I'm getting rid of, it's like, do I even remember that that's in my closet or shelf? Like, will I miss it if it's gone? Am I ever going to be like, oh, I wish I could play that? And a lot of times the answer is no, not really. It's, it's, so that's what, there's just so many games that come out.
Well,
it's
yeah,
so hard.
I think like hundreds come out each year,
Yeah, so we'd like to hear from the people. Yeah.
How do you decide? Do you just always keep your collection? Wasn't like the Stonemeyer?
Jamie Stegmeyer of Stonemeyer Games talked about how he keeps his very contained and he's very strict about
like under 50 or something?
Things in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that. The things I like, I want to hold on to for the rest of my life. I'm going to be like a pharaoh and bury everything with me, including Jonathan.
Yikes. So let us know, how do you manage your collection? Or do you call it a library? What do you do with that? And also we'd like to know, would you be interested in maybe in the future if we can't get rid of some of our games as part of a special giveaway or for a streaming thing? Seriously, would you be interested in us just giving out games as prizes that we used to have?
I wish you said it like, if we had some games left over, not that we can't give away. It seems like we're giving you the dredges.
Well, look, they're ones we're giving away. It's not going to be the cream of the crop. But they will be free, so what are you complaining about? Let us know in the comments, all that kind of stuff. Any thoughts on this? It's very interesting. We haven't put the issue to bed today. There's more to discuss, but we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching. My name is Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this has been Roll for Crit.
If you want to help out, you can check out our Patreon, or a simple click to like and subscribe can go a long way.
We really appreciate everything that you can do for us. We love you.